over some things and also check out my audio since I'm moving around my mic and trying some stuff. Trying to get my setup a little bit better. But let me actually turn back down my noise gate. Felt like it's really weird. So hopefully it's not. That's not the issue. Let me go ahead and just mute that. But issue. I would like to know why the audio is all cut out. If I have to. With this microphone. It's not working the way I anticipated. Way down. It's been peaking, and so it's freaking out. And I'll turn the noise gate down as well. so it won't pick it up. Oh, there seems to be a delay with my... Let's just remove all the filters. So is this a better sound? Does this sound good? Is this better? Yes? Hopefully. Alright. Ooh. Turn down my heater, because that thing is blasting. Now, I guess I can hit this, and then jump back into my voice channel. Okay. I think it was a clash between the two noise gates. So I can turn my noise gate back up to 3, and then I can turn my fader gain back up to 6.2 under. Okay. Alright. I'm only on this document because it shows that I at least know somewhat of what I'm talking about. And that, to me, is important. To at least know a baseline level of what I'm going to be talking about. And I do know a baseline level, at the very least, of most of the things that I bring up. Some things I bring up I don't know a lot about, and so I'm looking at them to learn about them on stream. Ooh, I'm gonna need another joint. Okay. But the things that I'm gonna try and clear up, as I stated already, were things like the misconceptions of what socialism and communism are, and it's common amongst liberals and conservatives, as well as the conflation of Marxism, which I should actually... Yeah, this is actually a good way to look at it. Marxism and socialism or communism. Marxism in and of itself is neither socialism or communism. It's neither of them. Now, it's just a lens of analysis, everybody. Have you ever heard of the Hegelian dialectic? It's the master-slave dialectic. As a matter of fact, honestly, Hegel should be in the Marxist history and theory thing because it's kind of important to the history of Marxism, I feel. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of this video. Now, I'm not going to delve too deep into it, but as you can see, I have watched the whole thing, and I do like the thing. I've engaged with this particular video a lot. This video explains the works of Hegel and Franz Fanon. and explores how the master-slave dialectic can help us understand identity politics.
What are you? You're like me, but you aren't me. What are you, an object? An animal? Are you looking at me? Wait, if you're looking at me, then there's a me. I exist, and you exist. But if there's a me, then there's a you. Then that means there is a not me. Something exists that is the negation of myself. An other. Every time I see you, I'm reminded of my negation. And if there's more than one being like me, then at the end of the day, what's left for me to be? I'll kill you! But if I kill you, then you won't be there to look at me. And if you're not there to look at me, how will I know I'm here? I can't kill you, but I can make your life miserable. It's a stalemate. But never forget, I could kill you any time. From now on, my self-consciousness is rooted in being better than you, being able to destroy you at any moment and replace you with someone who looks identical. You exist to serve me by reinforcing my conception of myself. That's what makes me the master and you the slave. But wait. I could never get rid of you. You'll always be there, reminding me of my negation with your otherness. Your whole presence is a totalizing violence to me. I need you. I need you to recognize me, but even if you do, I hate you so much your recognition isn't satisfying. My whole identity is built around dominating you. I need you, but you don't need me anymore. Part 2. What the hell was that?
That is a very, very succinct explanation, metaphor, thing to kind of describe the Hegelian dialectic. And it's pretty damn effective. It's the basis for how Marx started to analyze things. That's the literal basis for dialectical materialism. Or the materialist dialectic, there's a number of ways you can state it, but that's what it's essentially all about. Marxism is a lens, a way that you can look at society, civilizations, shit like that, and analyze the conflicts therein. Now, Marxist analytics revolves around the proletariat versus the bourgeoisie, or those who sell their labor to live versus those who own. There's actually some distinctions in there. There is the petty bourgeois, who are like essentially small business owners. If you translate it to today's economy, they would be the small business owner, because they also work and they do make money off of their actual labor, but they still also exploit the worker. Now, here's where things get interesting, because Marxism in and of itself is, like I said, it's just the lens of a way to analyze society. And through using this lens in the way that Marx does, you figure out where the class antagonisms are. And from there, he used his lens of analysis to develop honestly a critique of capitalism which led into the development of an entire theory on ways to organize the economy and to transition from capitalism to this. I am not 100% I'm not an expert on Marxism. I haven't read all the theory. I've read Capital. I've read some Engels, origin of state, family, and the private property, or whichever order it is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I listened to Angela Davis, as you know. I've listened to a lot of Marxist speakers and read some theory. I've read State and Revolution. I've read Guerrilla Warfare. I've read Mao's Little Red Book. So I've got some theory under my belt. I don't have as much as some people I've come across. And I may analyze and understand certain things in a different way than they do. They're still comrades, and I still love them very much. But the way that I see it is Marx was talking about moving towards a social democracy, which would then transition to kind of a worker state, which would then transition to just pure socialists, workers on the means of production, and then they start to wither away the state whenever it becomes unnecessary. That's where my general idea goes, but I want to try and smash all unjust coercive hierarchies on the way. Now, the state is the last one, because we will be needing it up to a certain point. Because while I'm an anarcho-communist, I'm also a pragmatic utilitarian. Optics is a thing. It's part of the reason I don't scream on my stream. Although, maybe it would help. Jimmy Dore seems to get a lot of people. But there's certain things that I engage with. Now, sometimes I put out bad shit on, bad takes on Twitter or whatever. But that's just Twitter. Fuck Twitter. Usually I'm just fanning some flames. But it gets people engaged. And then who knows, maybe somebody will come and hate watch me trying to, go hating on me, doing all their shit. And then I end up being not what they thought. Because I don't like the divisions and the infighting in the left. Yes, partly it's self-motivated because there are some leftists who really try and jump on my ass for little shit. Like I had some guy, I think yesterday, when I said, because I disagreed with something he said, which was apparently something that Lenin said, which I disagreed with. And this dude, he said, and I quote, "You're literally questioning Lenin right now. Not a good look." Bro, he wasn't a god. Lenin wasn't some all-knowing deity. Otherwise, the USSR would still be around. You gotta analyze things and figure out where they failed. And it turns out the Marxist-Leninist projects, they seem to not go very well. The only one that's still fucking standing... Okay, I'm sorry, there's two. Cuba and China. And even then, China is a variant, which is Maoism, which, I don't know if you saw it. Overview is a thing I don't have much in. Maoism. Trotskyism. See, people haven't tried a Trotskyist. and I think or a Trotskyite system, and I think a Trotskyite version would be better because he was kind of in the like liberate the global south and the third world countries that are trying to develop and allow them to help and create a permanent global communist society. And I think Trotsky had a better idea than Lenin generally did, and Stalin definitely did. I don't like Stalin. Yes, with the economic policies and shit that they ran, there was massive economic growth for the Soviet Union, for Soviet Russia. They did very well in that regard. But there's kind of the fact that Stalin was a paranoid fucking mass murdering bastard who saw disagreement with him as treason. That's why he kind of exiled Trotsky and had him assassinated later. I'm getting a little off topic here. So Marxism, as I stated, is just an economic system. Is not an economic system or anything. It's actually just a sociological tool meant to analyze society. I should probably expound upon this a little bit more. It would make myself sound smart. I could put, workers and owners, proletariat and bourgeoisie, or also those who sell their labor to survive versus those who pay for labor or earn from others' labor, I should say. That's a more appropriate way to put it. And see, the way that I see it is we started with kind of nomadic shit into tribalist shit to feudalist shit to capitalism to social democracy would be the next step to socialism to communism. That's how I interpret this. This is my interpretation. And then I don't have anything else after that because of the different forms. So Marxism in and of itself, yeah, it's not an economic theory or any of that. Socialism and communism are economic theories. Also, they're also sociological theories because they kind of intertwine. Because they're meant to increase freedom and, allow people to be happier. Very, like I said, this is very baseline. But essentially, while they are interrelated, because one led to the others, they aren't to be conflated. They're not the same thing. So, if somebody talks about Marxism, they could be talking about a wide range of things because they could be talking about like things that are derived from the material dialectic, such as gender or critical race theory, critical theory, shit like that. I'm also not a sociologist. I didn't go to college, but I have been reading Sociology 101. So I'm kind of learning a bit. Because as it can be pointed out, and I am trying to prove here, you can do good education. You can, legitimately, you can get a decent education for yourself without going to college. No, I'd still like to go back to college because I did go to community college for a very, very brief period. And I probably should have taken the time in between high school and the time I did go to kind of chill out from schooling. But I was under pressure from my family to go. But whatever. I might go back, especially if we start doing free 4 years. Yeah, I'll go. Come on. Get this joint rolled. Hopefully that was a quick and easy little explanation, but I can go a little further if need be. I can go more in depth overall. Just give me a couple of moments, and I will, actually. Because I know that anyone watching, or anyone who watches this later, might have more questions. Alright, get off my head hat. Fuck off. Keeps hitting the microphone because I don't remember how far the damn brim goes out. Okay. So, what we've got is a lens of analysis that, because it was applied to society at the time that Marx was living, and Marx being an economist, understood capitalism pretty much better than anybody. He was able to make crazily accurate predictions, such as I pointed out on stream before, he had predicted that capitalism was not going to be able to keep paying people a living wage. They would have to keep people in starvation wages, or if at any point they raised them to a living wage, the capitalists would do everything they can to undermine that. And then they would be cutting pay, trying to cut social welfare benefits, and also ramping up with aggressive militarization. All of which has happened since the 60s. We were at war in the 60s, y'all. 100%. I mean, we know this. So, we had at the same time a war going on at home, essentially. A peaceful war, if you will. An internal peaceful war. A struggle for human rights. We had the civil rights movement. At the same time, they were trying to ramp up and distract from the problems at home with Vietnam. We literally were told by the French what they did and how it failed, and we essentially scoffed at them and went in and did the same thing and got trounced. But there was a huge attempt to deflect from the civil rights movement with a foreign war. I firmly believe this. And on top of that, there was enough people inside the country opposing it that it became an actual major struggle. So they tried to distract from it, and they opposed it vehemently. The government and a decent number of citizens, that is to say. There was also the obvious problem of the wage stagnation that had started like around the time the civil rights movement was in full swing. The capitalist class had already been passing legislation off to senators and Congress peoples to be able to look at them and maybe sign them into law and cut back on some of the things to allow a living wage and things along those lines. And the trend started. It was the biggest time, or it was the beginning of the complete death of leftist movements until the new resurgence we have. And it ended with Reagan. And then the capitalists and the right wing have just pretty much actually been in control for most of the time. Capitalists the entire time, the right wing most of the time. Obama considered himself a moderate Republican before he was elected. When he was elected, he said 5 years ago they would have called me a moderate Republican. I would have been a moderate Republican. Or 10 years ago or something like that. There was a point where he pointed that he was like, I'd have been a moderate Republican. Which, not good. He legislated slightly more left than he actually was. And I say slightly. But he was far from being a leftist. But at that point, the Republican Party had already lost their goddamned mind. Oh, yeah, so with Reagan and stuff. Well, we got to Reagan, went from Reagan to... I don't fucking remember who all the presidents were in order. I just remember that every time a Republican came in, they fucked up workers' rights even more, and Democrats coming in kind of were milquetoast on workers' rights, so they would like incrementally make them slightly better, while Republicans were taking huge chunks off, or any conservative really. And so that was what one could call a great deal of fun, I guess. All the while ramping up the military. You get just Bush Sr. Pretty sure he was a Desert Storm, Kuwait. And then you turn and you get Bill Clinton. Okay. We get a budget surplus for the first time in American history. I don't like Bill Clinton, but his economic policy was domestically was better than most other presidents we've had. But then we've got Bush Jr. right after. And then the Saudis fucking hijacked planes, quote unquote, and then flew them into the Pentagon and the Twin Towers. And I say quote unquote because there's some speculation about them having actually not necessarily hijacked, but I think they did to try and frame Iraq, which is what Bush tried to do, and that didn't work out. And then they did the WMD thing, and we got into Iraq because they were just itching for war, because they knew that was a way that they were going to be able to continue with what they wanted to do. And then we got through fucking 8 years of Bush, and then we got into Obama, who made things even worse. Domestically, did things slightly better than other places. I mean, he fixed the 2008 financial crisis by bailing out the wrong people. So the country's economy didn't completely collapse for a huge period of time, and we have to rebuild from fucking scratch. But he didn't do it in the right way. And then, he jumped in on the Paris Climate Accord, and then the Iran nuclear deal, and stuff like that, and that's foreign policy that was good. But increasing drone strikes and stuff like that involving in Yemen on the side of Saudi Arabia, shit like that, not good. ACA was milquetoast, but better than what we were dealing with at the time. So there's things. There's nuance in the positions. But overall, they've been aggressively more militaristic while cutting Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, TANF, WIC. So they're cutting welfare benefits, being more militarily aggressive, and while they can't cut wages the way that Marx thought they might be able to because of the minimum wage law, they've allowed them to stagnate and been able to pay to keep them low. And then also bring in people who were undocumented that they don't have to pay as much. Now, I'm an open borders guy, but I recognize why a capitalist wants open borders. I also recognize why open borders is morally the right thing to do. So sometimes you side with a capitalist on an issue, even though you absolutely despise them. Conceptually. Maybe not as an individual. Because, I don't know. My boss is a really nice guy. I work for a small business. He still exploits my labor. But I do love the guy. He's a great guy. So, outside of these things, there's a couple of other things that I understand that people conflate. Such as, actually, let me just come right here, and I'm going to go ahead and type out. Private property versus personal property. Now, what private property refers to is solely where is that? Privately owned business or capital. Money, hedge fund managers, stuff like that. Personal property is things like your house, your gaming system, things like that. Things that shouldn't be publicly owned, like business. That's the difference. That right there is the most simple way I can explain it. Like the way it's written about and the way a lot of people talk about it is a little more complex and nuanced and shit, but this is the most baseline way. Like I said, this is pretty much a baseline breakdown of misconceptions of terms that lefties use. That's the main point of this. The biggest portion is the conflation between Marxism and the economic systems that Marx has developed. Marx was prolific as fuck. He did a lot of work. So we've got personal and private property. Boom. Done. I'm not bothering to keep that saved on there. That's the most easy way I can do that. Hell, I could actually. we've got in this one, let's make it 36. Value versus price. They're different. Value generally refers to the total cost of labor that makes an item worth trade is value, and the price is the amount someone would trade for an item. Essentially. So something doesn't gain value until labor is applied to it, which then, value leads to price, but they are not the same thing to be conflated. Because, for example, you spend $1, you buy wood. You could try and rip somebody off for that wood to make more money, but that's A, pretty unethical, and B, not the way to go about it. It's a really bad system. But if you apply labor to turn it into, well, a sculpture, little wood carving or something, you could then sell it for, $5 because you labored to turn it into something worth getting. Thus, it gained value. Price is the $5. That's it. It's the amount that you set as how much you feel it is worth. You added labor to add value to set a price. Pretty simple. Super simple. Yes, I'll save this. Value versus price. I hope that does clear up some stuff, because that's pretty much the main misconceptions that I see. And like I said, it's a super baseline, like extraordinarily baseline presentation. Look, I even did it in under an hour. 51 minutes. Yay! I actually managed to do something in under an hour and explain multiple misconceptions. And if somebody wants to, come chat or whatever, I've actually got my Discord open. And there's a 24-hour viable link. There's a 24-hour link right here in the description. So you could come join and ask me questions. I might start having some people from my state come in and ask me questions or whatever. Might focus a little more on my state, on that stuff. Natalie commenting Abigail on a video of philosophy, a philosophy PhD. Anyways, totally separate thing. So, what is some new stuff? Oh, that's tomorrow. I have to watch this. I literally have to. It's for work. So that I can come and talk about it after work. Oh yeah. Republican Congressman Ron White dies after weeks after testing positive for COVID-19. He was battling cancer, and that is sad. He's a Republican, so he was probably not doing things. Well, he might have been doing things right with the masks and stuff. It's sad regardless. Like, just because I disagree with the guy and he may have been pretty shitty, it doesn't mean you should feel happy that they die. And I had to learn that. I actually felt some sense of shame when I actually felt some glee when somebody passed away. I don't remember exactly who it was. I think it was Herman. No, it wasn't Herman Cain. I was still sad about that. There's somebody else, though, in the Republican Party. They passed away from doing something stupid. And I was like, yeah, see? You fucking deserve it. And somebody's like, that's really kind of fucked up. I didn't realize that this was Sifu up here, so I saw the text and I was like, what? It should be showing up here.
These places across Pennsylvania feel left behind. They don't feel part of the conversation.
Pennsylvania's Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman has announced his run for U.S. Senate. Now, I'm going to play his ad for you. It is fantastic. I'm also going to over...
There's a lot of great towns in Pennsylvania that people living there feel like their best days were a generation ago or more. No one deserves to be abandoned. These communities deserve to be helped.
You are the mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Real estate prices have dropped 50%.
Correct.
The population has fallen from 20,000 to 3,000. You're encouraging people to move there, okay? All right, so I'm sold. But for people who don't get it, sell us on Braddock.
I came to Braddock, 20 years ago because I wanted to work and fight against the inequality that I saw raging in this country. Braddock was a marginalized, wholly abandoned community. But that's exactly where I wanted to spend my career.
Fetterman wears Braddock on his sleeves, the zip code tattooed on one arm, the dates of murders on the other.
The things that I learned, in Braddock is that every place matters. No place deserves to be written off. These places across Pennsylvania feel left behind. They don't feel part of the conversation. That's why Donald Trump went to these small counties and held these big rallies. We cannot afford to take any vote for granted. We cannot afford to take any place for granted. Whether we're in a place like Braddock or a place like Emporium in Cameron County, the smallest county in Pennsylvania. Talk is cheap, but for the last 20 years, I've been working to represent, rebuild, and to advance in these places.
As the community marks an important 5-year milestone, people are really starting to have hope.
Tomorrow will represent the 5th anniversary without a homicide in town.
U.S. Steel plans to invest $1 billion in its Mon Valley works and make them the most environmentally friendly in America.
History was made in the Democratic primary for lieutenant governor.
John Fetterman won the 5-way race among Democrats.
He's a different kind of character, I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, that Western Pennsylvania registered Democrat, but voted for Trump. Fetterman can get a lot of those votes.
We don't have to agree on everything, but I will always tell you what I believe is the truth. I'm going to fight not for one part of Pennsylvania, not for one party of Pennsylvania, but for one Pennsylvania, just the way I did as mayor, just the way I'm doing as lieutenant governor, and just the way I would as your next U.S. senator.
An absolutely fantastic ad.
Yeah, that ad was a banger, y'all. Straight up. Thank you for showing me that because, yeah, I don't have a whole team of motherfuckers who can just send me stuff. Stop reaching out to them. Fuck the GOP, they just want people to die. That's it. They just want people dead. That's all they want. They want you to die. What?
Joining me now is Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary for President George W. Bush. Ari, so, it's good to see you. We love having you back on. So buried deep down into President Biden's order that canceled the Keystone Pipeline was another order to suspend President Trump's executive order to protect America's power grid. Trump's order blocked any foreign adversary like China from putting their own technology and machinery in our nation's bulk power system that delivers power to the entire country. What is going on here?
I don't know, Liz. This is baffling. I can only wonder, did somebody in the Biden administration overlook this? I cannot imagine they would have done this willfully. And I don't think this is a partisan issue, a Democrat-Republican matter. So the benevolent side of me says they just missed it. They shouldn't do it. They need to go back and restore it. Russia used cyber warfare to shut down the electric grid in Ukraine during their war with Ukraine. We do not want to let any foreigner, any adversary be able to do anything like that with America's grid. If anything needs to be self-reliant, it ought to be our grid.
Yeah, so the bulk power system, it includes electric power substations, transformers, high voltage power lines, other equipment necessary to move electric power from electric plants to consumers. The Biden order says OMB and the Energy Department, you got to look at this for 90 days. And the thing is, wasn't the solar wind story a big story that showed Russia already cyber hacked the software running our systems, including our nuclear energy? So why do this? Why weaken cybersecurity defenses? You point out Ukraine. You're right. We just don't get it.
Just because you don't get it doesn't mean something's up. Now, here's the deal. Biden is probably working on a soft power move with most of these people to try and keep them out. As well as you all probably misrepresenting the bill because you're Fox, so I don't know why I'm even watching it because they lie all the damn time. Do you have a You don't have any links? No links. These guys have no idea what they're talking about. As a matter of fact, allow me to, oh, hey, that actually still works. It can be right there. Fuck off, CNN, with your bullshit. Yeah, well, you guys are pretty shitty about unions. Like, I've tried to apply for union membership to get them to come and organize a union, and they won't fucking do it. Thank you. Let me look over it and see what it talks about. Let me see. Revoking the March 2019 permit. Okay, in 2015 followers. That's for review. That analysis, in addition, suppose our energy security and economy is limited. Stress that the United States must prioritize the development of a clean energy economy. Okay. Extreme weathers. So what is this about? Revoking cybersecurity? Okay. Other revocations. This is all shit that Trump did. What? If I ordered a pizza, I would eat because I'm hungry. Are you hungry? Yeah, my stomach just rumbled at me like 2 minutes ago. Oh yeah, brother. So that. Ooh, what do you know? I don't see anything in here involving removing cybersecurity.
That's why I say that this is baffling. And maybe this is something that just got caught up in an over-review of all the executive orders of the President Trump, and this new administration wants to review them for a period of time, and they didn't realize they had this one in there as part of their normal review. Look, new administrations do reverse a lot of their previous administration's executive orders. It's why laws are better than executive orders. And whoever follows Joe Biden is going to do something similar to Joe Biden. But you have to do it smart. You have to do it right, and you never jeopardize national security.
Okay, let's look at this. All right, Hunter Biden, his father, Joe Biden.
Okay, so now we're getting off into the conspiracy bullshit at this point. Actually, the whole thing just is leading into conspiracy because, as you can see here, he repealed a thing for offshore, a quote-unquote implementing an America First offshore energy strategy, promoting energy infrastructure and economic growth. I've looked at most of these, and I don't see Here we go. Let's see about this one. Okay, I think this is what they were talking about over here on the thing. So, let's see what this is about, because they may actually have something. The order applies to a limited number of utilities and specific BPS, which is bulk power system, right? Electric equipment. Oh, okay. Just because he revoked a thing about something from China, you know he's signing an executive order on America First stuff, right? Like made in America shit. Not America First in the Trump sense, but like made in America. He's expanding what that means. Or I guess restricting more towards things actually made in America. And so he may have like energy infrastructure stuff as solely made in America, and thus the thing looking at stuff coming in from China, which was a 90-day prohibition, whatever. It's literally a meaningless thing. It was a 90-day prohibition signed. It's suspended for 90 days. So that he can, I guess that they can look over. The Secretary of Energy and the Director of OMB shall jointly consider whether to recommend that a replacement order be issued. So they're going to look and see if we actually need that particular executive order, because it could just be literally pissing off China for no reason. And why damage relations with the country for nothing? Doesn't make sense.
Kind of just put out there on the website. The first thing I did was I rented a car and I drove out to New Jersey. And
Oh. Okay, well. Lame. Say, are you ordering two, or are you just ordering one pizza?
Oh, well, it's low. I can spend it to you. I got my cash on me. I'm probably spending it.
Okay, I was gonna say if you're doing two, then yeah, I'll take the usual one. If you were just ordering one, do whatever the hell you want. Yeah, it is really bad in Oklahoma. It's really getting there. Now, this is gonna make the liberals super fucking happy, but he's right.
So what exactly needs?
Because my sister, a trans woman, is heavily impacted by this pandemic, along with her partner. Also, my younger sisters are both impacted heavily by this pandemic. Both of them have children, and both of them are with non-white partners. My mom is impacted by this pandemic. Every woman I know. Shouldn't be. Motherfuckers, if I had to drive in a goddamn tornado... Nah, stay close, it's fine. I'm not gonna... See, that's the exact same logic that people who don't want to cancel things like student loan debt have. It's like, well, I paid mine off. Why can't they? Oh, they should suffer under a mountain of debt under completely different circumstances economically than you did, where you only had to pay like $7 fucking to pay off your student loans. You boomer ass piece of fucking selfishness. Yeah. Of course, millionaires are. Oh, that was 3 years ago. Okay. I was about to say, oh, Oklahoma man kills 3 home intruders, but they are 15. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Guess what? You could do that with any gun. Because it just takes 3 bullets. What the shit? What?
New tonight, an investigation underway after a hacker tried to poison a Tampa Bay area water system. Authorities say they boosted the amount of a chemical in Oldsmar, Florida's water supply up to dangerous levels. Now, this happened on Friday, just 2 days before the Super Bowl. The Pinellas County Sheriff says the hacker increased the amount of sodium hydroxide in the water from 100 parts per million to 11,000.
This is obviously a significant and potentially dangerous increase. Sodium hydroxide, also known as lye, is the main ingredient in liquid drain cleaners. It's also used to control water acidity and remove metals from drinking water in the water treatment plants.
The sheriff says a worker noticed someone remotely moving his mouse on his computer and quickly reversed that change before it could do so much damage. According to the CDC, high exposure to sodium hydroxide, or lye, can burn your eyes, damage your skin, and cause temporary hair loss. Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.
Okay. That's not good. That's very, very bad.
We've reached agreement on.
Republican Senator Richard Shelby on Monday said he would not seek re-election for a 7th term in 2022. The 86-year-old congressman from Alabama joins a growing list of other Republican senators stepping down ahead of a likely spirited and expensive midterm campaign, including Rob Portman, Pat Toomey, and Richard Burr. Shelby, in a Monday statement, said, quote, "I am grateful to the people of Alabama who have put their trust in me for more than 40 years. I have been fortunate to serve in the U.S. Senate longer than any other Alabamian." Shelby was first elected to the Senate in 1986 as a Democrat before switching parties. He's been a top member of the Senate Appropriations Committee and has played important roles on banking industry legislation. Despite the popularity of former President Donald Trump in Alabama, Shelby opposed him at times, such as on his trade tariffs. With the Senate now split 50-50 down party lines, the 2022 midterms will be high stakes, as each party will look to seize decisive control. And as far as the conservative state of Alabama goes, Republicans are viewed as likely to find a successful candidate to replace Shelby.
We just need to get the progressives out. Get him out. Wow. Not good. Not good, folks. Alright, this joint is pissing me off. It's super pissing me off. I wonder what the comments under here are like.
You claim to have like this a disaffected sort of like anti-establishment view of all of this, but your channel is hyper partisan against the left, and then when anyone criticizes Trump, you'll either defend him harshly or you'll back up and say, well, they're all bad.
Libertarian socialist YouTube streamer Vosh joined Tim Pool on his massive platform for a 4-hour discussion. Now, I will link to the full discussion below the video so you can go and watch that, but I will show you a clip in a minute here. First, I just got to say, I was so impressed with Vosh. He was able to approach this conversation in a way where he was able to educate the Tim Pool audience.
That is true.
Yeah. Professor, if Biden refuses to act as a sort of modern day FDR and refuses to implement a social democratic agenda, more or less, do you fear that there could potentially be a more competent version of Trump who takes over and the country will turn far right?
It's very possible, and we shouldn't underestimate Trump's competence. He was a political genius. He succeeded in something which is extremely difficult. A legislative program which robbed and attacked the working class and the poor, poured money into the hands of the super rich and the corporate sector on one hand, and maintaining a rabid base of popular support from the people he was shafting on the other hand. That's competence. Takes skill. He also succeeded very effectively in destroying, smashing every possible thing you can see in the international arena that is beneficial and sometimes essential for human survival. His wrecking ball was very impressive. He wrecked the arms control regime, poured money into new and more dangerous weapons, sharply increasing the threat of terminal nuclear war, and the other major human issue, the pending environmental catastrophe. He raced toward the abyss, trying to maximize the use of fossil fuels, including the most destructive, eliminating the regulatory system, which somewhat mitigated the lethal effects, and we don't have much time. There's a decade or two to deal with this. His battering ram made a big difference. World Health Organization, which is essential for the health, the survival of huge numbers of people in poor countries all over the world, Africa, Yemen, elsewhere. He tried to destroy that, was quite successful in doing so. The COVAX consortium, international consortium, almost the entire world, which is in principle at least dedicated to trying to ensure that the poor and needy get the vaccines, that they're not monopolized by the rich. Hasn't been very successful, but at least it's trying. So Trump decided to wreck that. In fact, you look across the board, it's amazingly uniform. Anything that can serve human interest, destroy it. Everything that can harm human interest, maximize its impact. Harm the working class and the poor, sharply through your legislative programs, and at the same time maintain a rabid base of support, which is close to half the country. That's pretty impressive. It's not incompetent. It's extremely destructive, devastating, but competent. So will somebody else come along who can pick that up? Maybe. Maybe somebody will come along who doesn't add to it the kind of vulgar, ridiculous antics that finally even alienated the people who be serving with dedicated passion the super rich and corporate sector. They did finally turn against him. It was very striking on January 6th. They were basically marching orders from the people who effectively own the country. Chamber of Commerce, National Association of Manufacturers, CEOs of major corporations. They all said straight out, game's over, get out, it's enough. And as I said, the senators started running for the exit. Look, we're in a position right now where there are, among the many threats we face, which go on all the time, there are two which literally threaten species survival. That's serious, and they're both being escalated. One is the threat of nuclear war, which is quite serious and escalating, and the second is the threat of environmental disaster, which is moving in extremely ominous directions. Take a look at the new Congress, for example. Just about every new congressional representative who came in last November is a climate denier. In fact, Congress has already moved to ban funding for the most mild environmental efforts. And furthermore, unfortunately, many of these people are true believers. So the head of one of the congressional subcommittees, new Republican, explained that global warming can't be a problem because God promised Noah that there wouldn't be another flood. Others are just supported by...
But why do you care about stupid people?
Stupid people. These people have power, and they're carrying out actions. They are carrying out the actions which are defunding possible efforts to do something about these crimes. Furthermore, they're backed by major concentrations of power. The major business lobbies, for example, have announced that they're funding big propaganda campaigns to convince people that this doesn't matter. These are serious issues. Incidentally, if we want to look at stupid people, we find them all over the place. For example, we happen to be right in the middle of a huge financial crisis. People have noticed. And you trace that back. A lot of it comes from a fanatic religious belief in what's called the efficient market hypothesis. That's pure fanaticism. Dominated the economics profession, dominated the Federal Reserve. One consequence was that when an $8 trillion housing bubble developed, totally unrelated to any fundamentals, completely off the 100-year history of housing prices, the profession and the Fed, the central bank, said it's not necessary to pay attention because of efficient markets. I mean, is that very different from God promised Noah?
That's great. Beep, beep.
Okay, so Chomsky is out here just blasting out truths left and right because brother's awesome. But I think we got some food ordered. It's gonna be on the way. We're gonna watch this other video that just showed up. It's from Al Jazeera, and Al Jazeera is a place that I trust quite a bit for a foreign perspective on other things, because it's funded partly by the Qatari government. So, Noam Chomsky talking to Al Jazeera on the 5 filters of the mass media machine.
Propaganda. Many use the word when talking about countries like North Korea, Kazakhstan, Iran. Countries viewed as authoritarian through the lens of the Western media. Press freedom, freedom of thought. People use those terms when talking about countries like the United States, France, Australia, democracies. In 1988, Noam Chomsky co-authored a book with Edward Herman called Manufacturing Consent. It blasted apart the notion that media acts as a check on political power, that media inform the public, serve the public, so that we can better engage in the political process. In fact, media manufacture our consent. They tell us what those in power need them to tell us so we can fall in line. Democracy is staged with the help of media that work as propaganda machines. Media operate through 5 filters. The first has to do with ownership. Mass media firms are big corporations. Often they're part of even bigger conglomerates. Their endgame, profit. And so it's in their interests to push for whatever guarantees that profit. Critical journalism takes second place to the needs and interests of the corporation. The second filter exposes the real role of advertising. Media costs a lot more than consumers will ever pay. So who fills the gap? Advertisers. And what are the advertisers paying for? Audiences. And so it isn't so much that the media are selling you a product, their output. They're also selling advertisers a product, you. How does the establishment manage the media? That's the third filter. Journalism cannot be a check on power because the very system encourages complicity. Governments, corporations, big institutions know how to play the media game. They know how to influence the news narrative. They feed media scoops, official accounts, interviews with the experts. They make themselves crucial to the process of journalism. So those in power and those who report on them are in bed with each other. If you want to challenge power, you'll be pushed to the margins. Your name won't be down. You won't be getting in. You've lost your access. You've lost the story. When the media, journalists, whistleblowers, sources, stray away from the consensus, they get flat. That's the fourth filter. When the story is inconvenient for the powers that be, you'll see the flak machine in action, discrediting sources, trashing stories, and diverting the conversation. To manufacture consent, you need an enemy, a target. That common enemy is the fifth filter. Communism, terrorists, immigrants, a common enemy. A boogeyman to fear helps corral public opinion. 5 filters, one big media theory. Consent is being manufactured all around you, all the time.
Essentially, yes. That's not inaccurate. See, that's why Noam Chomsky is a big genius boy. He's a big old genius boy. with big brain?
The time.
Okay. I like the weird animations. That was cool. Pretty chill, you know. Brew. Alright, I don't know. This song's great. It might already be copyright.
So one thing that was very interesting in your book is you go through Frederick Douglass and W.E. Du Bois and Dr. King, and then we get to Ella Baker.
Yeah,
and I'm
Ella.
like, why her?
Oh, she's one of the greatest. Ella is one of the greatest. There is no civil rights movement without the example, the witness of Ella Baker. She's the executive director of Martin King's organization. See, she's executive director of SNCC, the young people who broke away from Martin. Ella's love for people, for black people, working people, poor people, and her deep suspicions of messianic modes of leadership, the charismatic man that people submit to and defer to. She's a Democrat all the way down. She wants all the voices to be heard. And in some ways, she's connected to Occupy, that I point out in the leaderless and leaderful at the same time.
Don't we need leaders? The thing about Ella is, I mean, SNCC didn't, well, it sort of disintegrated eventually, and it's not like you can go and see fantastic speeches that Ella made. She doesn't feel like a prophet.
Yeah, I understand.
It's not effective anymore if you don't have a leader.
No, I think that people lead in a lot of different ways. You can lead quietly by example, and that's what she did. We would have talked to giants like Bob Moses, still alive, or if we could talk to Stokely Carmichael or Diane Nash. They would say Ella was one of the great leaders because you can see by example, she was someone who both inspired you, role of leadership, right? Provided.
Dr. Cornel West, by the way, is another one of my inspirations. I need to gather more clips for my video that I'm working on. And Cornel West is going to be in the video. Because this man and his talk about pushing forward with love. Now he gets a lot of flack from some of the people that I call the dipshit left. But, you know, he's a very spiritual and intellectual individual.
Guidance by her actions and in conversation. But she's like a jazz musician, that she's antiphonal, it's a call and response. She's in conversation. She's not pontificating from above. She's having conversation on a horizontal level. And that's genuine leadership. But it's a different kind of leadership than Martin being charismatic and out there. But for me, there is no Martin King's movement without an Ella Baker's intelligence, imagination, and courageous witness.
Yeah. Okay. So. Let's play some game. But I'm going to go ahead and let me hear how this sounds. Oh wow, my microphone sounds hella loud. if I have my thing turned up all the way. Let me turn it down even more. Oh wait, no, I want to have it up. Can I turn the compression up? Let me check that and see how that works, because I've kind of forgot that I needed to use some of these. Ooh, let's do that. This seems good. Oh, there we go. Is that okay? Yeah, I like that. Alright, I'm gonna turn up my compression a bit. That way it's a little bit better. So take a break, and then I will be back and continue for probably until about 10-ish. Oh god, turn down the compression. Jesus. Turn down the fader gain. And take down the gain over here. And turn it down over here as well. Jeez. Okay, how is that in the stream? Let me hear. Let me hear. Come on. Bop, bop. Bop, bop. Bop, bop. Bop, bop. Okay, and we are temporarily back. I could probably actually keep this way back over here. Because it picks up my sound really well. So. Yeah, how does it pick up my sound right here? Yeah, that sounds good. If I leave my... That's great. Let's go with some fun color fun. And I'm going to keep my headset out because I don't really need it. Oh god. What all do I have open? 4 things open? Jeez. Oh god. We're gonna mulligan this because I don't think we're in a good spot, really. Actually, yeah, we're gonna mulligan. We can keep this, and we can get rid of... Let's get rid of the spear, actually. Spear not that relevant. Hey! Not really good for me, but hey, I can at least do this. Gonna get another swamp. Do I need another swamp? Doesn't really hurt to have in the early game. I can Banishing Light whatever he plays. So, I need to listen for somebody to knock on our door, because that could be a thing. And get that out there, and then I get one more turn to draw, and hopefully it's... If it's a green land, then I'm good. Because outside of... Okay, so I can... What is this? Okay. Banishing like the Pack Mask, the Pack Hunter, and then we're good. Okay, that's a red land, not necessarily what I need, but not the end of the world. Because I can play this, and then I can play a fairy.
All right, who's ready for a good time? Don't worry, I'll think of something.
And then I can discard a card, and that card will be... Arasta. And then I'm gonna make his 4-2 phase out. Probably. What you got? What you got? Because next turn, the thing gets moving. Okay. Beginning of your upkeep. Go ahead and swing with it. You have a 4-2, so you're gonna draw a card at the beginning of your upkeep, unless I phase it out. Come on. What are you doing? Okay, you're swinging there? Ooh, okay, well. Either way, this thing is going to die. So... let me do this.
Think fast.
That's another white. So, do I need 2 white for anything? Not necessarily at this moment. It's more important that I keep all the things that I currently have. Well, because next turn I can actually just play Nahiri and I can drop this and it'll enter tapped. Nah, we'll just get rid of that. Send that one. So it dies.
Looks like
I get more benefit out of it. Sweet. Okay. I mean, it's not the best thing, but I do need another white though, because that's going to benefit me eventually. And I'll play this. And then
my world will return to its ancient glory. The core empire will rise again.
This can at least block some of the damage of the patrol. This isn't good for me at the moment, but at least I'm stabilizing. And so Teferi and Nahiri got out and are at least distracting them from hitting me, so I can build up to be able to kill them. Oh, that's another one. Oh, great. Oh. I need green. It's gonna trample through, but that's not too big a deal for me.
Stay out of my way! We will survive this crisis.
Boom. I now have a 3/3 first striker. What you got? Come on, come on. I guess I can just continuously put Nahiri tokens out, though.
We will protect my home.
Okay. I have everything but green. So I can stop the a patrol. He's gonna kill the Nahiri this turn somehow. Okay, this is bad for me. He's got 20 damage on the board. 18 damage on the board. Could have killed me. Obviously, you gotta block that and then just let the Nahiri die. That's the smartest move I've seen make here.
We're lost.
And I get... Good game. Gonna happen. Gonna happen, folks. I'll be back.
Shot. Right. I'd say, God. Oh, mother.
Alright, I apologize, but my food showed up. That's important to me. Get off of this screen and we'll continue on. I'm gonna eat this burrito and then these tacos. Pretty decent hand, actually. Fucking duck. Okay. Alright, now we wait. Shouldn't have put your fucking mana dork up.
Apocalypses to let another happen. Time to improvise.
Beat some ass.
I do love a good puzzle. fast.
I must calm the anger that dwells within. Scour the ruins.
Wait, when did this individual gain light? Oh. Right. That makes sense.
Don't worry, I'll think of something.
Okay, I think at this point, I just get rid of that. Then, I go ahead and play this as a flag source. Put this.
Help me remake this world.
Get walloped. I don't care if this thing gets its ass beat, you know? I will stabilize, and I will beat your ass. I'll beat your ass.
Time to improvise.
Yay.
I welcome new allies.
Think fast.
It'll take 3 life. That's fine. That was okay. Gotta remember that the frickin' shadow spear is a thing. Can you stop me before I ruin you? Okay.
We will survive this crisis.
Draw a card.
Time to improvise.
Discard a card. So I can just block those. Boom. Oh no. Are you dividing it?
Back's gonna hurt tomorrow.
Brother, I win. What am I missing? Oh. This motherfucker just keeps going. I love this deck. Love it. It already. Oh, it is 9:47. Okay. Sorry. I had to wait for my food to get here. But you know. So, covered news, I covered the difference in the thing. Nobody bothered to join into the Discord. They could message me on here first. Because the Discord is on mute, as you can see. Beep beep. Ding bop. Oh, is it freaking out because of the Discord? Nope. Oh, okay. We're good. What was that problem then? Don't remember. Oh well. No, let's... Yeah. We'll probably just end up playing some more video games tomorrow for streaming. Unless I can schedule to get somebody on to talk. So, I think to round out the stream, because I kind of want to wrap it up and get to bed, because I got a big day tomorrow. By wrap it up and get to bed, I mean wrap it up and get ready for bed by smoking more weed. Let me go with the Google Docs. I get a bunch of spam in my shit and it's annoying, but... Here we go. I've got this research material document, which is a different one. And this is wage loss. And this actually is to contribute to the other research document that I'm doing, not the Marxist one. Because I've got this one that I'm doing this one, and then crime and poverty. That's something that I'm doing special. So, and yeah, then all that's just spam shit that gets sent to this particular email, because this document thing is not using my actual, like, business type email, quote unquote, my my Sandwhichpants email. My YouTube doesn't either, because I made it before I made another email for all that, but all that stuff, like my subscriptions for things like, you know, Crisp and Voice Meter and Streamlabs, that's all through my other. Here we go. This is something that you can just have. Statistics 101, Chapter 1, at the very least. There's 19 pages to it. And so you can Okay. So. Yeah, according to this rule here, standard creepiness rule. Yeah. I shouldn't date anyone under 21, which, I mean, even then. "21" is still kinda... Okay, so... let's go with... let's just go here. Let's go with this one. This is just notes that I got. And there's more that I need to go through on all of this. Because as you can see, there's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 total sources. But this, all of this, it's a sneak peek for you all. I'm not actually going to give you guys like all the statistics and crap like that. I'm not going to show you all of the work because it's going to be revealed later when I work on this other video. So I've got this research material that's contributing to this, and it technically kind of contributes to this, but I've got to, do some jumps over and study a little bit of statistics to make sure that I'm doing it appropriately. But you can make some... you can educate yourself on some stuff decently, at least well enough, by getting abstracts and conclusions from studies. Crime and poverty, and they all tie into this a little bit. And then I've got another video project that I'm working on. So look out in the future. Hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be done with the other video that I teased a bit. It's taking a little bit, and I'm still gathering clips, but I want to get it done by the end of the week, if not by the beginning of next week. And then hopefully by the end of... I'm hoping by the end of March, beginning of April area, I'll be done with this video. And I'm still doing the streams almost every day and things like that, but I'm trying to expand beyond the live streaming and make actual, like, structured things, because I know this rambling can get kind of, So I want to be able to, let's make some other stuff happen. You guys witnessed my first loss with my standard 5-color deck on stream live here today. So I hope you enjoyed that, because it hurt me in multiple ways. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. As you can see, it's almost 10 o'clock at night. So since it's 10 o'clock, yeah, I'm definitely wrapping this up, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Hopefully you learned something from the beginning, hopefully that's kind of what the start was for, was all the way up, and well, all the way up until I put on some magic, and then technically you were learning what I do in magic right now. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, then please like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Jesus, it's late. Anyways, y'all take care. love yourselves and love the people around you because we're all people and we all deserve it. Thank you.